You're listening to Living with Louie. Well, hello, folks, and welcome back to Living with Louie. I'd like to apologize for the late posting of this. We did have some equipment issues that gave us a little bit of trouble, but we have since gotten that repaired, and we're back up and rolling. Today, I wanted to discuss a little bit about, as I talked before, I talked about the rabbit hole of depression that you can fall into, and some of the things that helped me to get out of it. And I know that when I was first diagnosed, it was very difficult pill to swallow because when I read about things online, it didn't do anything that I thought was going to give me a positive direction to go in. So, at any rate, I think the first thing that had to happen was to get some acceptance of what my diagnosis really was. Once I accepted that diagnosis, what was it that I could do that would help, that would make my life a little bit uh, more fulfilling? So, I think that it all comes down to your mental attitude, and I think that you have to go through that period of time where you're processing what your diagnosis is, and then once you've accepted that diagnosis, where your mental attitude is as far as how you're going to move forward. And in my case, I just decided that I was going to fight this on every front that I could possibly find. And for me, that came with my therapy team. My therapy team has been an immense help to me. I have a physical therapist that has a specialist with neurological patients. I have an occupational therapist who's absolutely awesome, and I have a speech therapist that has helped my ability to find word retrieval and slow down enough to make my speech a lot clearer. So when I got involved with my therapy team, and I had made the decision that I was going to give 110% every time, every day, no matter how I feel. And there's days, believe me, I don't want to get out of bed, but I get up and I get moving. And once I'm moving, things get a little easier, and I start to feel a little bit better. And once I'm up and moving, and I pretty much try to stay moving, it's they've just been a huge help with doing these exercises that challenge my balance, making it so that they're rewiring my brain in a way. They call it neuroplasticity. I've talked about that before, and quite honestly, if someone had told me that they could rewire your brain 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I would have said, "Yeah, okay." But the reality is that it is possible, and that's not to say that this won't catch up with me, because I'm sure it will. But I'm going to fight every day that I can to have as much quality of life as I can. And there's certainly not much that can be done about the mental part of what we experience, but there is a physical part of this that you can fight on, and that's where I am. I've decided that that's what I'm going to do is fight for everything that I can have, and I think that if you have that mindset, then you'll find more success. Now, that doesn't mean that that's perfect for everyone, and I don't claim to say that it's going to be perfect for everyone. What I am doing is trying to share with you what's working for me, what's making me feel better, and making it so that I have less days. Now, don't get me wrong. And I've seen other people post this as well. I've seen people post that, they have a good day, a really good day, or have several really good days, almost to the point where they they feel like perhaps maybe they don't have this Louis body. But I can tell you that in my case, I will have some good days and some days that I feel really good. But then I guarantee you that every time Louis comes back to say, I'm still here and will knock me down a step or two for a couple of days. My friend Mike, that I met through this podcast and through Facebook, he says what he has to do is rest and reset. And there's a lot to be said about that. I've found that when I have a really bad day, resting and giving my body a chance and my mind a chance to reset is really advantageous. And I may have a couple of bad days in a row, but then I will look forward to the days that I'm doing better, which that's not always the the easiest thing to do when you're really feeling bad. It's hard to say, okay, don't worry, tomorrow it will be better. But believe me, if you get up and get going, you'll find that you can have better days. The whole mental attitude towards your condition, I think, is well, in my case, I'm just going to say I think my mental uh, awareness of everything is what allows me to have successful days, more successful days, a lot of weeks than I have bad days. The other thing that I think that Mike certainly was the one who said this to me. I just recently had a birthday, and I was like, it's just another day. And Mike said, no, it's a victory. And you know what? He was 100% correct. And it was another trip around the sun. And by gosh, yeah, yes, it is. It's a victory to celebrate your birthday, to celebrate anything that you do that you manage to accomplish, I think is a huge victory. I spent the entire winter replacing a convertible top on my wife's little BMW Roadster. And I will tell you that that's no easy task. And uh, there were a lot of days when I couldn't work on it. I just had to let it sit there, and then wait until I was having a better day to be able to go back and attack the the problem again. And yeah, it took me all winter, but my gosh, I do believe it was early April, maybe the end of March, but at any rate, when the weather did turn better, it was with great with with great joy to watch my wife drive out in her favorite little car with the top down and know that I had actually finished that I had started that and I was able to finish it. And by gosh, there's another victory for that I had. So I think that you have to take the things that happen that are good and celebrate those victories. And just on the days that you're having a rougher time, I just try to make sure that I'm looking forward to the next good day and how can I make any day better. It's very difficult for me to concentrate on one thing at a time. And I'm usually flitting around with the numerous things started. One of the things my occupational therapist said, well, why don't you start a to-do list and write it down? Write down what you want to accomplish and check them off. And don't move to the next until you check that last one off. Well, I'm in the early stages of trying to work with that. And I will tell you, some days are good, and some days I'm all over that checklist. So um, I have been trying to do better with writing it down and completing one task before I move to the next so that I don't all of a sudden stand back and go, wow, what am I doing? I've got all these things going on here and nothing's getting finished and nothing's getting done. And my frustration level then starts to rise. And when my frustration level rises, so does my stress. And stress, I think, is the biggest enemy you can have with this. And so, at any rate, I try my best to manage my stress. And one of the things that I'm very pleased to have started this podcast. I'm hoping that what I talk about can help people. I know that it's touched a few people, and that's to me is absolutely amazing. I told my wife when I started this, I can if I can touch one person, if I can touch one person and help one person, then it will have all been worthwhile to get this thing going and get it started. There's um, there's a lot of I want to say a lot of people around the globe that are finding that are listening to this. I think presently we're listened to in 130 some cities over 7 countries. To me, that's just mind blowing that I can that there's that many people that need awareness to Lewy body, awareness to the struggles that we face daily. Lewy body can change for you um, in the minute, and I know that my therapist has said, it's kind of they can tell when that mental fog, as I call it, starts to move in, and they say I get kind of a glazed look on my eyes, and they can tell that for for whatever length of time, I'm kind of not mentally there in the game, and they've asked me, "Well, what's that like?" And the best way that I can describe it to them is that you get this mental fog, this get pressure that I can feel uh, in my head. I can feel my pulse in my head, and it's like I'm totally detached from where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing, even though I'm right there. It's such an odd thing. It's a very difficult thing to describe. Um, but I think that you need to share with your caregivers and share with your therapist as best you can and describe as best you can what it is that you're going through and how you're feeling, because I don't know that they're capable of helping you a whole lot if you can't articulate it properly to them. And we spend time, my therapist and I do, discussing what's working and what's helping, and then they actually give me tests to find out whether or not I'm improving or I'm not improving. And over the last 6 months that I've been involved with this therapy team, well, let's see, well, I guess now we're at 9 months, but at any rate, and in the 9 months that I've been involved with my therapy team, there's been vast improvements in my ability to perform the tasks that they want me to during these tests. And I was talking with my friend Mike, and Mike was telling me that he just have went through that similar testing with his therapist, and in 6 weeks, he had a 20% improvement in strength and endurance, both. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's something to cheer about. Now, there's a victory. There's a victory. That right there is a tremendous victory, and I know that he's working towards going on a cruise and going to a Rangers game, and I'm all for it. I'm cheering him on, and that I think is something else that there needs to be more people that cheer us on, supporting each other. That's I guess that's what it's all about. And I know that the Facebook group is great. There's a lot of people that will get on there and share what they're going through. Um, I just chose a different platform because I'd like to be able to have more people understand. And I know that we've had Mike has been on, and I know that Mike's fiance Dee, who is also his caregiver, is going to come on and discuss what it's like to be a caregiver for someone with Louis, and some of the things that she does to support him and to help him in his day-to-day struggles. And I think that's also a very important message to get out there, because there's a lot of us that have Lewy body that um, then we have a caregiver, and a caregiver who's struggling with trying to figure us out, and while we're trying to figure ourselves out, and so I think that there's certain things that they go through that certainly test their their grit, if you will. But at any rate, I think that I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say from a caregiver's perspective. I would really like for anyone that would like to come in and share your story to um, just reach out to me on Facebook. On Living with Louie podcast is on Facebook, and just message me through that, and I'd be more than happy to uh, talk to you and tell you kind of how this process works, and give you a chance to tell your story and share with other people what's being successful for you, because I try to share what's successful for me, but that doesn't mean that that's going to work for everyone. But certainly keeping your mind open and listening to what other people are going through, and kind of how they cope is a powerful thing. And Mike and I, it was the first time either one of us had even talked to anybody else that had Lewy body. And what a what powerful conversations I have with him, and we have developed a friendship over Lewy body. That's pretty amazing to me as well. And I really have enjoyed my conversations with him. And I would really encourage you to share your story, or if you're a caregiver, share your story. Also, if there's a therapist or any medical professional that wants to come on and share what they know about Lewy body, I'm wide open to it, and I actually look forward to it. Again, I will apologize for this being a little bit late getting posted and getting out there this week. I usually like to have it up by Friday. However, we did have a serious equipment breakdown here in the podcast studio, and we had to get a piece of equipment replaced. And by gosh, it got here, and we're back up and running. It's an important mission to me. So without dragging this out too long, again, I would like to invite you to to come on. And also, I'd like to let you know that we are completely voluntarily supported by our listeners. And I can be found on the Living with Louie GoFundMe. It's under Living with Louie podcast on GoFundMe. And anything that you feel, even a dollar, I mean, every bit of it counts. We're trying to just cover our expenses with airing this and also with equipment cost and maintenance that it takes to keep this up and running. So if you want to support the show, I do believe that you also find a link on the podcast links that will allow you to go straight to GoFundMe, and we appreciate any support that you would like to give. And we will look forward to our next week's show, and we hope that everyone is out there having a good day today, because we can celebrate that if we're having a good day. So thank you very much. We'd like to thank you for joining us for this edition of Living with Louie.